Okay, because I told the first story and I'm doing this in order because I have to post 3 videos to catch up. Um, Basically, I'm going to tell the story that I wanted to tell but lost. So here we go. So, back in 3rd grade, this is never a good start to a story. Okay, any story before middle school, if I say back in 3rd grade, run in the other direction. I'm just saying, 3rd grade through 5th grade was a bad time. Anything before 6th grade was just not worth it. Except this one story, but yeah. So basically, in the 3rd grade, I was being my normal silly band dealer self. Yes, I was a silly band dealer. I'm not kidding. I literally sold silly bands for $1 and I got away with it for almost half a year until they caught me selling it because all these kids would have silly bands and I would have money for no apparent reason. But and when I got caught, I still sold them except behind the dumpster. And that's why we don't talk about 3rd grade. But nah. So back in 3rd grade, when I was being my silly band dealer self, I noticed a new kid hanging out with some of the guys. What am I kidding? Most of the guys that were jerks to me in grade school, and actually stopped picking on me in middle school and high school, except they really didn't stop picking on me. They did it behind my back, and reasons they did it behind my back because they learned what happens when you do it in public in front of me, okay? They learned the rough way. So, yeah. But basically, I noticed this one kid, and even though he was hanging out with them, he was getting picked on. And I couldn't understand why he would hang out and willingly get picked on. I understand now, but, at the same time, I'm still just like, why, though? Why? And this went on for quite a few weeks, and at some point, after 3 weeks of him being there, I ended up talking to him, and it was chill. We hung out, and I was like, he's not as bad as most of the guys that pick on me, so, he was cool. Except for the fact he literally had the same issues as I did, which was he got bullied constantly. Now, even though he was a small 1st grader, and I was a small 3rd grader because I was short. I'm still short, but I was extremely short then. Basically, he didn't really stand up for himself. And even though he could stand up for himself, he didn't. And it really bugged me because I don't know why. So then I took it upon myself to do something one week that literally became a weekly thing almost. So basically, I saw him get picked on and get teased and get told he wasn't allowed to play with someone because they didn't want to play with him because for some reason. And I can remember not liking it. And when he walked off upset, I turned around and waited till he was gone, and I walked up to the kid and was like, why won't you let him play? And they were like, oh, Loper's, they called me Little Lopez because they called me Lopez because my last name is Loper. So they called me Lopez, and they called me Little Lopez, or other names. But basically, they're like, oh, Little Lopez is going to stick up for Kyle, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, why were you picking on him, though? And I can remember getting shoved down and hitting concrete, and then instead of just crying, because I was actually hurt, I was hurt, but instead of crying because I hit the concrete, scraped my chin, was bleeding, I stood up, whirled around, took the 4-square ball from them, and threw it in the kid's face. And I literally looked at him. There was a time that I hit a girl because of him, but I looked at him, I was like, you pick on him again, and I'll come back and it'll be worse. And I turned around and walked off. Of course, the kid squealed and said that I threw a ball at him for no reason, even though it was clear he had shoved me first. And my mom and dad's policy is I'm not allowed to start a fight, but I can end one. Meaning I'm not allowed to throw the first punch, but if someone hits me or pushes me first, it's going down. I'm allowed to do whatever, as long as it's not murder. So basically, he got in trouble for hitting me first, even like football, technically laying hands on me first because he didn't hit me, he pushed me. But I also got in trouble for throwing a ball in his face and actually breaking his nose. Um, Needless to say, he didn't pick on him anymore though. They actually didn't. That was the first bully that went and apologized and pretend like actually was nice to him. Aw, I love you too, Kyle. I'm gonna cry now. Okay, so basically, after that, it became a weekly thing for me to stand up for him. And every time all of his bullies would line up and be like, yo, I'm sorry I picked on you, and would be nice. I got in trouble quite frequently because I can remember almost every other week or every week. There were sometimes it was like weekly in like a week in a row that I would like she got pulled out again. But like there was every other week that I would get pulled out of class, be like, why did you hit this kid? What did you do? Why did you do this? And they all thought I was acting out because I was getting bullied and no one was really doing anything about it. And they thought I was getting revenge because a lot of the same bullies that bullied me bullied him. And only one of them that I stood up for him for, that stopped bullying him but didn't stop bullying me, has now just decided to bully me behind my back, but that's not here nor there. But I can remember being like, saying I can remember thinking, because they're bullying Kyle, but I just let them think it was because they were bullying me and I got tired of it. He didn't know this. He literally didn't know this. He had no idea this was happening. That I was the reason all his bullies were like suddenly angels, basically. And during one of our messages, we were talking about when we were kids, and he's like, yeah, that was weird. Like a lot of my bullies who actually, some of them went to school with him, some of them were still homeschooled, but um basically he was like, a lot of my bullies during that time just like stopped bullying me randomly. Like one week they would be my bully and then the next week they were like my friends and they were perfectly fine with me. And I was like, yeah, let's just say something in a small package, small, chubby, angry package with rubber bands all up her arms may or may not have solved the bullying problem, and kind of fought them. And he FaceTimed me. He's like, you're kidding me. I'm like, no, I'm not. I used to, I used to beat up your bullies. I saw them bully you. You would walk off upset. I would turn around and flip and beat the snot out of them almost. Or other things. There was a lot of punching or kicking or biting. Yeah. And then I would turn around and go be your friend. And basically, even though it wasn't said, we had this little pact thing that was like, I got your back if you got mine. And we still live by that to this day because, obvious reasons, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. But like, yeah. And honestly, he was one of the only kids that I could really call friend and know that he was actually my friend. And when he moved, it was the most devastating thing ever because I can remember thinking, oh, I'm so excited and pumped. I'm going to get to see Kyle this week. And when I got there, he wasn't there. And then he didn't show up for 2 weeks. And I was like, where did Kyle go? And they're like, oh, he moved. And I was like, oh. And then I walked away and cried. And honestly, that's when my anxiety started back in 5th grade. And, I don't know why I had anxiety. Well, I mean, like, I know why. Because he was my first little kid crush that everyone's like, oh, so cute. She has a crush. And now I get to be like, haha, I'm dating him. So, yeah. Which he texted me, like, in the middle of this, like, love you. And I'm like, I love you too. But yeah, so this was a shorter one because we were little. And that was, like, kind of hilarious. I was, like, the little vigilante who was a slave band dealer. I'm wondering how I haven't gotten put in juvie yet or something. Like, there are things that I'm just like this, that I'm just like, I got in fights a lot. Yeah, so that's the video. So I hope you guys liked it, and I will post something tomorrow. Bye.